All right, what is up, everybody? This is the RP Ginger here, and I am joined with Menez, aka Ian. And what we're going to be doing tonight is something a little special, one-on-one session of March of Annihilation, session 19. It's been titled "The Trials of the Great Bear," and to give you all a little kind of backstory of what happened up until this point, how Menez has got herself into this situation. Through several sessions, a mercenary group called the Flaming Fist has passively taken over Nianzaru and has charged adventurers and those who go out into the jungle a pretty sizable tax. It has been commandeering half of whatever anyone has been bringing back into the city. This has been slowly escalating to a point where a rebellion was formed. Menez Actually, the rebellion was probably formed after Menez was caught, but moral of the story is Menez had enough of this group taking advantage of those trying to stop the death curse, and she engaged in a battle with one of the Flaming Fist soldiers, and I believe ended up killing him. From that point, several adventures later, she was captured by the Flaming Fist. And this is where this session is basically going to take place. So, Menez, it's been several days now since your expedition to Mesro. You've been carted back to the city of Nianzaru and thrown into a dank and dark dungeon below the city, forgotten by many, but also not forgotten by some. You were told upon there, not being treated too kindly, as you can probably imagine, that you were going to be transported to Fort Balerion. And from there, Lyra herself, Lyra Partier, was going to behead you for the crimes that you've committed against the Flaming Fist. This was supposed to happen by your call a few days ago. You've lost time now that you haven't seen the sun in a while, but you know that more than a day has passed and no sign of the Flaming Fist has actually shown up to cart you away. You've been locked in this dungeon now without food and water for a good many of days, and you just wait. You don't know what's going to come of this, but you've just been waiting. Tell me, Menez, how are we feeling right now? What's going through your head? Catch me up to date over these last few days being arrested, carted through the jungle, and then thrown in this dungeon and basically forgotten of now for 3 days.
Absolutely, yes. She's in a bit of a sorry state, but internally, she's set with what is to happen. This delay for her is probably just a tactic. She knows that just in moments, at any time, the doors of these cells going to open, and she'll be taken out, still with her feet chained and her arms chained, and taken to a place where she will be beheaded by Lyra.
Absolutely. At this point, you're going to start with 1 point of exhaustion. You've been deprived of the basic human necessities now for many days, and you just sit there accepting it. For whatever reason, this is the path that lays before you. You knew coming to Chult that death was a very real possibility. Maybe you didn't see it ending like this, but if this is the way it's meant to end, then so be it. And just as you've been waiting now for what feels like an eternity for that door to open, it finally does. You see a burning torch carried through. The silhouette of a tall individual makes his way. You have to shield your eyes because it's been so long since you've actually seen light. You hear the clattering of footsteps approaching closer and closer to you. Now looking upon you, you feel their presence. You don't see their eyes, but you feel their eyes looking at you through this torch in between you. And then you hear probably a familiar voice. You spoke with him probably last in Mesro. you hear the voice of Commander Darius Cole. And he says to you, "World's going to shit now. The death curse, potential traitors, pirates. There's even been fucking snow in Nyanzaru. What do you make of that?"
She wipes her mouth. There's blood there from. Looks to the corner where there's a few like rats that she's like trying to get some sort of sustenance from. And she said, and she says, "A change is coming. The death curse will be stopped at some point, if not by me, by others."
I agree with you.
You truly wish to be on. Because you know this army.
Sorry. Go ahead if you need to say something more.
She just says, you know this army that's come from Baldur's Gate, which you're a part of. I know, I sense that there's a difference in you from them, but. And then she's full silent.
He puts the torch in a sconce against the chamber that you find yourself in, now illuminating himself. You see this dark-skinned, bald man with these piercing eyes, these calculating blue eyes that stare into you. His head completely shaved, and he has a big scar from one side of his neck carrying down into his armor. Pulls up a chair. You see something in his hand, and he pushes it underneath the cage. You hear a little bit of a splash. Instinctively picking it up. You're just so thirsty and hungry now. You borderline don't care what it is. You grab it and you down it. It's water. And he says, "This death curse does things to people. Turns good men and women. Turns them astray. I want to know, Menace. Did you do it? Did you kill someone in cold blood?"
Menace says, we were on an expedition, and our guide was captured by the Flaming Fist. The only way for us to get him back was to fight. But that matters not now. She says, "I know my fate awaits me, and even you can't change that."
He says, "Yeah, fate's a funny thing now that you mention it. Turns out you're not going to be making a trip to Fort Balerion."
She struggles up.
You apparently have friends in relatively high places. Xanthi, the princess of gems and jewels, has petitioned for you to be tried a different way, an older way more rooted in the Nyanzaru traditions, a way that I don't believe in. But like you said, fate.
When will this happen?
Well, it's going to happen later today. He pulls out something from his side pouch now. You see him start to fumble with a silver locket, and he opens it up, and he shows you a picture of a girl. And he says, "You lost anyone to this?"
Do I recognize it?
You don't recognize the person, but you know that he's talking about the death curse. Have you lost anyone to the death curse?
He nods, thinking of her father.
I know you don't necessarily agree with what the Fist has done. And there's a lot of allegations right now against Lyra. Apparently, we might be in a more difficult position than we thought. And maybe even I was blind, too easy to trust the people, to be honest, people to serve a cause, to end this horrible thing. You would think that individuals wouldn't want to take advantage of the fact that people are dying. He takes the silver locket from you and closes it. But it seems like certain individuals will take advantage of any situation.
He nods.
He says, I don't know what happened that day between you and the Flaming Fist, and I don't know if Lyra is actually working with the pirates or not. But I believe that the fates will sort this out in one way or the other. And I hope that if you are innocent, that they fall on your side, Menace.
She falls silent. She wants to confide in him. I mean, she read him from the last time they met in Mesra, and he's an honest man for sure. But there's so much at stake, way beyond her life, including her friends and comrades and stuff, so that she doesn't relay any of the information in regards to what we discovered in Fort Delirium.
He says, that woman we found, Alessandra, she might be our first real clue to putting an end to this. So one way or the other, like you said, the death curse will be stopped. I just hope that those that deserve to see its end are still alive to see it. He stands up. Rest well, Menez. You're going to need it. This trial you face is definitely not any easier than the last route. And then he begins to walk away.
He nods, wiping hand across the scar. Says, Darius, thank you.
He stops for a moment as if kind of reflecting on whether he wants to reply, but then he doesn't and walks out. So, give me a Constitution saving throw now. You got a little bit of water in you, but is it enough to sustain you?
Definitely not. She gets 4. 8.
4?
8, so in total 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay. So factoring in now that you've easily not been properly hydrated or sustained any nutrients for the last at least 10 days.
No.
You have 2 points of exhaustion going into this. Disadvantage on ability checks, and your speed, unfortunately, halved. You now wait. He tells you to rest, but there's no chance you can rest now. You don't know what this trial is. Some ancient sacred tradition that the Nyanzaru, the Chaltons used to do. But soon you will find out what that trial is that awaits you, Menez. Hours pass. People come barging through the door, roughly. You see torches, again, many of them lit. They all kind of start storming through quickly. They begin to bang on the cage just to kind of shake you up and give you a sense of disorientation. You don't really understand what's going on before several men are upon you, picking you up, grabbing you by the shackles, and then they begin to drag you through the streets. You're taken out into the streets, and instantly you see that blinding light that is the sun that you've been lack of for the last 3 days. It almost burns your retinas as you can't shield your eyes from it. Your hands behind your back. You want to put your hands over your face, but you can't. Your lips are dried from the lack of dehydration or the lack of hydration. Your skin kind of clammy, and then you just feel this immense heat that is the streets of Nyanzaru bursting down upon you. You're transported from some dirty district across, paraded through the Red Bazaar. People kind of lining up and looking at you, some booing your side, some booing the Flaming Fist that now poke and prod you down the streets. And before long, you hear, as the sun is now beginning to fade on the city, these beautiful oranges and purples of the dusk that's about to approach, you hear the sounds of chanting, excitement, the sound of a massive crowd. You're brought to the old city. The first thing you see are these two ancient vine-covered ziggurats, which connect overhead many feet above with this large stone bridge. Old City is where Nyanzaru first started. Before it was ever the walled settlement, before the merchant princes ever took over, and it became the flourishing city that it was Old City. These ziggurats. And you're carried through them, and as you look around this dusty stone, very kind of almost Egyptian looking area, dirty streets, tents and whatnot, of people who can't afford to actually live in the city, you're brought to the source of this large crowd, and before you, opening up, is just rows upon rows, almost like a coliseum with no walls surrounding it, just this open area with this large rectangular pit that runs for hundreds of feet. All in the center of this, the people gather around and they're cheering, and as they see you, people begin to hush. You see Quailthe, the merchant princess of luxury, take the stand. You kind of don't really understand necessarily what's going on, but you begin to catch up all too quickly. As you look, you see that this rectangular pit, 200 feet wide, long, 50 feet wide, and over 30 feet deep, has stains of blood and bones and chains. And as you see down the long rectangular path, there's these these portcullis caverns that are sealed off, and the sounds of bestial roars and growls. Quailthe takes the stand with a priest, basically enchanting her voice to be much louder than it actually is. And she says, "Greetings all from Nyanzaru and from far away. We have been gathered here today for a sacred tradition that has not been held for many years. The executioner's run will be held today as it has been held in the old times. Menez has been accused of illegal murder of a Flaming Fist soldier. The original trial was beheadment by the hands of the Flaming Fist leader. But Xanthi has stood and asked that in these times, in the times of the death curse, that we start to believe in the old ways, and Ubteo's way. Menez, you will be thrown into this pit, unarmed, with no defenses. Your trial is a simple one, albeit dangerous. Get to the other side of Executioner's Run and climb up the ladder. If you can do that, then in the eyes of Ubteo, you have been absolved of these crimes." She pulls you get pulled forth before her, and she says, "Do you have any statements, testimony, or any last things you would like to say? For you either will never leave that pit, or leave it a free woman. The options are simple."
Yeah, she says the army of the army of mercenary soldiers from Baldur's Gate, the Flaming Fist, has taken over the city of Nyanzaru under the veil of lies that they're here to protect, serve, and save the city. But ending the curse, the death curse, while putting an end to the merciless pirates that plague Nyanzaru, should have been their highest priority. Instead, they line their pockets, disrupting the daily lives of the citizens, hurt, kidnapping, and are willing to kill those that would put an end to the death curse. If I die today, there are others that will take my place to end the death curse.
You hear a few people kind of cheer. Supporters, you see that the crowd is lined with with friendly faces, people that you've adventured with, people that have helped you, that you've helped. They all have come here to watch and see this through. And although many of them would wish, as you see it in their eyes, to help you in any way that they can, you know that these traditions, these sacred things, are strictly forbidden to be tampered with. And that would not only seal your death, but seal the death of anyone involved. The death curse is not something that will be ended alone by one person, but tonight, Menes, you are truly by yourself. You're carted away to the one end of the pit. As you look down, you wonder like how you're going to get down there 30 feet. And you quickly receive that answer as a boot is pressed against your ass and shoved. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
She gets 7, that's 8. But I rolled twice because of danger sense.
Yep.
Mine 10. She gets 10.
10 is enough to basically save yourself. Total landing prone. Luckily for you, the last thing that they did was untie the shackles behind your arms. You're free to face this completely as your own individual, but you're not throwing any weapons. You're a barbarian, so you don't have any armor anyways, but basically all your items and gear you're absolved of for now. As you're thrown into the pit, you take an additional 10 falling damage.
Okay, as soon as she lands, sorry, go.
Go ahead. No, I'm not saying anything.
She just lands rough and like already just like coughs blood through her teeth, and she just like she wipes it, and she looks up seeing this whole crowd of people just rimming this above her, and she just rips out these 2 bone carved earrings representing both her children. And she just like places them down on the floor as she stands and looks in the direction of looks down this huge 200 feet distance. And she, if I can do perception for 1 second to just see if there is 2 things she's looking for. One, if there's any sort of looks like there's any sort of like pits or possible like pit trap sort of things. And the other one is if there's any sort of like, they sometimes have these like poles or anything like this that are like hanging out the side and guards at the top of these things.
Yep. Go ahead and make a perception check.
She does. Oh my gosh, man. It's just the pure exhaustion in her as she's like looking up and taking this in. It's just like her vision is just blurs. Absolutely blurs, and she gets a natural 1.
Oof. And the crowd erupts as you're kicked in, excitement beginning to take over. It's been a long time since anyone has seen this event. Many of the youth would never have even really heard of it. This pit has basically been turned into like a sporting kind of game of like kickball for the most part nowadays, but it's been re-outfitted, and you see that bones have been chucked in with a 1. Yeah, you're blurry, and then the eruption of the crowd just kind of like rings your ears. The last thing that you kind of blurrily hear is Quailthe saying, "Release Ubteo's children." And you begin to hear the portcullises grinding open. They're about 30 feet away from you, 2 on each side. And you're kind of just like standing there, picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, blood kind of dripping down from your face where you hit the ground or whatever. And then you see these lizard-like feet step out. 2 on one side, 2 on the other side. These creatures that are easily 7 feet tall. The first one stepping out has this dark green reptilian skin. It has these deep, piercing yellow eyes and these razor sharp like claws kind of just hanging from its side as 4 Deinonychus step forth. These are basically like kind of like picture your Jurassic Park of velociraptors, human in size. They step out now. The first one you see dark green, and then a creamy kind of albino colored one, and then on its opposite side of the 50-foot span, a black and red one and a bluish green. 4 Deinonychus. The people silence now. As you see these beasts, they lock eye contact with you instantly, homing in. You can just see that they're hungry and they're full of rage as they've been poked and prodded all day long, ramping them up for this event. They instantly lock onto you, lock onto their prey, their meal. And that is where we're going to roll some initiative.
That's 19. She can roll twice. Yeah, I'll go for 19.
19. All right, very nice. Interestingly enough, you're not the quickest, though. You're quicker than every single one except one. So, what I'm going to get you to do, keeping in mind that right now, because I'm a dick, your ability checks are at disadvantage, and your speed of all things is halved right now.
Yep.
I'm going to get you to track the distance that you've made. When you get 200 feet, you are at the ladder.
Okay.
And then once you climb up the ladder, you're free of this. That's all you got to do. The dark green, the dark bluish green one lets out a growl, kind of like a shriek of terror, and then just begins to start running in towards you. These things move incredibly quick. And before you know it, it's running, pouncing up through the air, leaping through the sky towards you. Give me a dexterity saving or a strength saving throw.
Okay, so I would normally roll twice, but I don't do that now. Is that right? Because
nope, this is a saving throw, so you're not a disadvantage on saving throws.
Got it. So she does 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
14 is enough to just dodge out of the way. You roll, and this thing just on top of you now lunges in with one of its razor sharp claws, streaking across. It rolls a 12 to hit, and then obviously a 6 to hit, which are both going to miss. You tumbling out of your way, pick yourself up. You got something to say?
Yeah, I do, because I'm not going to fuck this up. So here's the deal. Is that was a dex save, right?
That was a strength save.
Strength save, yeah, absolutely, it's fine.
Okay. You pick yourself up out of the way of its claws as it starts to like try to rake at you, catching onto anything. It misses, and then its big toothy maw comes lunging forward, trying to do a biting attack. Rolling a miss also. You're up next, as the other 3 are in front of you and a 1 right on top of you.
Got it. She goes into a rage immediately, and just tries to just like smash this thing, which is 8. Well, the first attack is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I use both my proficiency plus my 14.
14 is definitely a hit. Now you're making an unarmed strike, so that's 1 point of damage plus your strength mod.
Yeah, so that would be just give me a second. That is so 9.
9 damage, nice. You just punch into this thing. The crowd erupts in excitement as you just bat it away. It growls at you. Anything else?
Yeah, second attack. She tries to just like grapple this thing. So that is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12. Grappling check at disadvantage because that is a check.
Shit. Oh man. Yeah, it's a 12. It was natural.
Close. You start to grab your hands on it and grab onto it, but its skin's just kind of like naturally like a bit slippery. Nothing really to grab on. It pulls itself away with the 16. Anything else on your turn?
All right. She just stands her ground where she is.
All right, you stand your ground. Next up is the Deinonychus, and they're all going to start running towards you. They're going to make that pouncing attack, so you're going to have to dodge another pouncing attack. Go ahead and make a strength saving throw.
Right, she does 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
And then it comes at you with a natural 20 and a 23 to hit. So natural 20 is a total of, give me a second here, 14 damage, which everything you're going to do is halved. I'm not going to tell you the half number. I'm going to tell you the max number. So 14 halved and 9 halved. The black and red one now upon you, flanking its other dark green brethren, also lunging forth. It tries to just engage you straight up, making 3 attacks. Oh my god, this is a bad start for you. Another natural 20. 11 damage. And then a miss. And a 21 to hit. So 2 damage on the other one. 3 now on you. The last one running through, you're kind of just completely flanked. It jumps right in the air and is going to try to land on top of you with that pouncing attack. Strength saving throw.
He does 7 plus 8 is 15.
You just narrowly dodge out of the way. You're just now in the fray. All these claws and teeth, just it seems like hundreds of them all biting at you. And once the eruption of the crowd, it comes in for a claw. 19 to hit, I'm going to assume does.
Yep, absolutely.
Minimal damage with a 3. And the other attack misses. So that puts us to the top of the initiative. The first 6 seconds have just flashed by you as you're locked in with 4 Deinonychus all biting and clawing at you. You see that your flesh is beginning to rip. You're in a rage and you're angry. You're trying to stand forth. You've just landed 1 punching attack on this beast and barely wounded it. It now, with the superior advantage in friends, is going to let out a torrent of strikes, missing with its first set of claws. 15 on the second, I'm going to assume, is a miss.
No, 15 gets me.
15 does hit you? Oof. 4 points of damage, halved. And the third strike misses. You're now up, Menes.
Yeah, she wants to disengage and sprint. And her movement's halved.
Yeah.
But actually, even if I don't disengage, if I just run, if she just sprints first, she does that.
You're just going to burst out and take the 4 opportunity attacks?
Yeah, she does that. She just just like starts to just sprint.
Probably your best bet. All right, let's see what happens. Good luck. Miss. 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 2 2s in a row now. And a 3. Oh my god, 4 misses. Oof, you burst through, kind of pushing them out of the way, clawing and grabbing. They're kind of falling over each other. There's 4 of them all in this tight area are now fighting over who gets the prey first. You begin to run. You move a distance of what?
Normally it is it would be 80, but because my speed is halved, you said?
Yep.
So I'm 40 feet down. Okay, got it.
40 feet down. All right. 40 of 200 feet traveled. How you looking?
Fucked up. Okay, go ahead. I just got to calculate this really quick. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
All right. As you begin to move 40 feet, you see in front of you, you don't really know how you missed it, that just about 10 more feet away, the course itself actually is not just complete flat. You come to this area, which is basically like, how do I explain this? Little, what the hell is the word I'm looking for? Like the poles that you would normally leap over. kind of all like station one after another, kind of like a thing that you can either crawl up or down over. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm completely blanking on the word that I'm trying to think of. But
is the terrain like?
Yeah, it's kind of like wavy, but you can either go up or down, basically crawling underneath these things, or kind of leaping and running across them. Unfortunately, that's just out of your range, though. So next up, you have to deal with the Deinonychuses chasing after you, and they can easily keep up with you in distance. So they're upon you. I'm just going to get you to make me three strength saves again, because anytime they travel a distance, they can pounce at you. And if you roll under 12, you're in trouble. Just let me know if you roll under 12.
Okay, that was okay. That was okay, absolutely. As these things like go to punch, go to leap, she just like sidesteps, rolls to the side, just continuing forward.
All right. Now dodging their claws. 15 we've determined hit you already. So that's 5 damage halved. A miss from the other one, and then 2 more attacks to get through. Another 15 for 8 damage. And a miss. So they're just basically on. As soon as you burst away, you realize that these things have the superior speed. They're on you again, clawing into your back. But now just the leading one is in front of you, and it isn't going to pounce, basically opening itself up for its full attack combo. It goes in for a clawing strike, rolling a miss, rolling another miss, and then finally trying to bite onto you. It misses all 3 attacks. Up to you.
Got it. She would like to. The one that just did this, is it?
The one that just bit at you last and missed all 3 attacks is the one that you punched already.
Absolutely. Just wants to just. She spins round on this one and tries to like just grab it by its throat.
Okay. Grapple check at disadvantage.
Would that be just neutral then? Because I also would get advantage.
Yep. So yeah, neutralize. You unfortunately have to beat a 19 though.
Oh fuck! So she just tries to grab this thing, and her hands just slide across the side of its scales, and she just goes to pummel it with the second hit.
All right. Go ahead.
And a 1.
A 1. Oh god, the fates are against you. Now to reiterate, 10 feet away is that terrain that kind of goes up and down with a basically a tunnel underneath that if you drop down prone you could begin to crawl under. Yes, and then it's almost like a kind of a grate, if I guess you will, or like a sewage tunnel, with the top half of it having holes in it every now and then, enough for a creature to easily poke its head in.
Absolutely. She dives down in that with the remaining part of her movement. She just like.
All right. Just 4 opportunity attacks again. So good luck. Let's roll them up. Here we go. You know, at first I thought you were going to do this no problem, and then it's looking
I was hoping it was going to be 1 creature, man.
No, I'm not that nice. All right. Here we go. Luckily, does a 14 hit you?
Yeah, 14 is my armor class.
14 is your armor class. Whew. So you're getting hit, and I crit again. So 10 damage on the crit, halved, and 4 damage on the other ones, and then the other ones I rolled a 12 and a 10, so misses. You dive underneath and just chomping at your feet. One grabs onto your ankle and just bites down hard. You yell out in pain as you feel like bones beginning to crack. You grab at it in a rage and tear its mouth apart, kicking it in the back of the throat and then pushing yourself underneath the tunnel. You see the front 3 just trying to crawl their way in. One pushes its snout up and starts to breathe heavily on you. You just feel the warmth of its breath and just the smell of decay and death on its on the back of its throat as it begins to try to claw its way through. It's gonna have a really hard time doing so, and only one will be able to fit in. Although you start to hear the footsteps of the other 3 doof, 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 running on the opposite side. The other 3 are going to ready actions. and the blue-green one that you've already basically engaged with is going to begin to start squeezing its way down and into the tunnel with you, making a bite attack at disadvantage. Rolling even at disadvantage, a freaking 16.
Awesome.
So biting into you again for another 4 damage.
All right.
You're now up.
Yeah, what she's going to try and do is because she sees like up ahead as she pulls back her leg with this after taking a bite. That there are places that these things can get their heads down and like this. Also come just up to there, but not close enough that she can be attacked by them. And then she wants to deal with this one that is behind her that was injured before, if possible.
Okay, so yeah, you just position yourself there, and then basically the other 3 are going to stand by, and it's going to go back and forth between you 2 then as you're engaged in this cave. You can ready an attack. It inevitably begins to inch its way forth. It's having a really hard time doing so, and it's obviously at a really awkward angle where all it can do is bite at you. Go ahead and do your readied attack.
She does that would be 18, 19.
That'll hit for sure.
Disadvantage, right?
No. Your attacks are not disadvantage. That's exhaustion level 3, I believe.
That's the first one. The second one is 18 plus.
Double hit.
Yeah.
2 kicking strikes. So that's 9 damage each time.
Absolutely. So she's just trying to she grabs onto the side of this creature's jaws and just literally just puts her foot against the side of its shoulder, just trying to rip away at his head. So
yeah, you begin to you boot it in the face once, instantly kind of you hear like a snapping kind of sound of its jawline broken. It lets out a horrible shriek of pain and then tries to chomp on you, and as it does, you see that its jawline has been like basically fractured and is out of place, dislocated. Its jaw just kind of sloppily kind of chomps down and like gives it like this overbite effect, and then missing you entirely, you kick it again. 2 kicks to the head solidly, cave in its skull.
Brilliant.
Killed one.
She takes just a moment, just realizing that, yeah, and determined, she just turns around to navigate where the next place is to get through. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, basically just 10 feet in front of you as you're crawling. A hole opens up. You see the light, and give me a perception check.
That is 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right, I was going to say at disadvantage, but that's enough to miss it anyways. The crowd kind of cheering. You obviously can't hear or have any idea where the dinosaurs have went, but you know they must be somewhere out there. They didn't leave you alone.
Absolutely. She is. How far have I crawled into this place?
You've crawled about 10 feet, and then another 10 feet away is the first hole. So a total of 20 feet is the first hole, and then another 20 feet basically puts you at the end of this pipeline.
Got it. My movement or theirs?
Technically, since they are just readying actions, they're sitting and waiting for you to do something.
Absolutely. She's going to double back, come out, and just sprint for it again.
You're going to go back out the hole that you came?
Absolutely.
All right, interesting, smart. You're going to have to basically kick out the dead body of the dinosaur that's blocking the way. You wish to do that?
Yeah, the thing is, she goes in that direction and just realizes that, I mean, really his body is just like this. And by the time she just turns around and just goes just in the forward direction.
All right, so you're going to try to circumvent that first hole and climb to the next one?
Yep.
All right. As you do, 2 of them are indeed waiting, and one's going to try to bite down on you and grapple. And you're technically prone right now, so it's going to do so at advantage. So give me a grapple check at disadvantage.
So 16.
16. It rolled, unfortunately, a natural 18 plus mods. Bites down on you, grappling you in place. Now, it doesn't normally have a grapple attack, so I'm not going to make that do damage on you, but instead it has you pinned as the other one jumps forth and then starts to just absolutely go apeshit on you. It is going to make its attacks and hit, and miss. So 2 clawing attacks. The bite attack misses you, luckily. You take a total of 8 more damage, halved, as you're just pinned down to the ground, and the two are now chomping at you like 2 dogs ferociously trying to get to their food dish, fighting over it. You're pinned now in this hole. The other one, the third one, is still missing in action. It's back up to you now. Your speed is down to 0 until you break this grapple.
The first thing she wants to do is definitely break that grapple for sure. So she does, that is 13 plus 8, 18, 19, 20, 21.
21. All right, here comes the check. I hate to do this to you, but disadvantage.
So 14, so it's
14? 22. All right, you're going against a 13. You boof, boof, start to punch it on its head. It eventually lets loose of its grab or its bite. You feel that you're able to move again, although you have these tooth marks on your rib cage.
Yeah, she's like, even with the blood pouring out of her, she just tries to get to her, using her movement to get to her feet.
You're gonna stand up. All right, half your movement standing up. So that leaves you with what does that leave you with? 10 movement?
Okay, 10 movement. She does not try to fuck it. Yeah, she does. He moves that 10. That's at least 15 then.
All right. Yeah, and you used your action to unfortunately break the grapple. So yeah, you're moving what, another 10 feet?
Yep.
All right. I do want to, just so that you understand, let you know that there is more pipe that you could technically crawl into if you wanted to instead of standing up.
Okay, fantastic. So she breaks out of that grapple.
Yeah.
And into the pipe 10.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you just jump to the other pipe. From there, that will provoke more opportunity attacks. So let's do that really quickly. Wouldn't want to forget those for you. Miss and a miss. You jump in, chomping at you. You put yourself in the pipe, shimmying up with all your speed and momentum. Blood just pouring from you at this point, I imagine. You begin to see the red and black one start to push its way in. It's at first like a fight, like they're just basically trying to both push themselves in. But the black and red one makes its way in first. The albino creamy one, like this pale yellowish kind of color, still hasn't been seen, and the dark green one has been left behind. So that puts you up to the top of the initiative with the black and red Deinonychus right behind you.
Absolutely. Head, if it's humanly possible. She does, first one is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I need a 19. 13?
13's a hit, just barely on these creatures.
The first one is 18 plus whatever. So she just all her might just tries to crack in its the side of its face with like 2 boots.
2 punches, so a total of 18 damage. All right. The creature badly injured now. Will begin shoving its way up, and it is going to bite at you. And since it's squeezing, it's a much bigger creature. It has a hard time doing so. It bites, trying to chomp down at you. It actually does get through with a 14 to hit. Biting down, 8 damage. Halved, obviously. The other 2 you do not see. Up to you.
Okay. Right. So where she is now, she wants to use definitely the rest of this sort of like tunneling way to get as far up as humanly possible.
All right. The creature is upon you, so if you're going to continue to shimmy, then it will bite at you as an opportunity.
Yeah, of course, because this was sort of finished. Shit, she tries to take this out for sure.
Yep.
That is 9 plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
hit.
17. And the other one is a hit.
Yep. So you again bash this one to death. Obviously, they're not as good at squeezing into this pipe. This is your advantage. 2 now taken out by you. just the crowd cheering and chanting bets, trying to get their last minute bets in. Bookies no longer taking any bets though. Everyone's just going crazy at the spectacle unfolding. People begin to boo though as you've now crawled into this tunnel and kind of begun like basically hiding. The other two Deinonychus, you don't see where they are. They're basically waiting, and you're basically up now. So you can shimmy another 20 feet, putting you at a total of 60 feet moved. But that puts you at the end of the tunnel now.
Okay, so another 20. So that would be in total 90.
Yeah, you're right, actually. 90 feet.
Okay, so she's sort of like halfway to this thing. She makes her way up to the end of this this tunnel, knowing that she just quietens herself as best as possible, as even though her heart is like pumping and blood's like pouring out of her, and just like listening by the entranceway if she can hear anything above the roar of this crowd or the
give a perception check. At disadvantage.
So she does. That was so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9. All right, and contested versus probably going to fail, but let's just double check. Yeah, you don't hear anything, just the crowd.
Absolute fuck it. She just like steals herself and just tries to sprint out of this thing.
All right, now the unfortunate thing is that you're prone, right? So you basically pull yourself up and have to stand, wasting half of your movement, but then you still get your action. So I believe that means that you can move a total of what? Can move a total of 40 feet, but you lost. So you're moving a total of 20 feet then, I'm thinking?
20.
Yeah. So 20 more feet to your total. How far does that put you again?
So 20 more would be 130.
130. All right. Excellent. But obviously, your two friends have been sitting there waiting. The dark green one, as you pull yourself up, you see it come in on your left, just waiting there. Tries to chomp down on you. It's going to make its attack. All right. 15 to hit.
Solid.
Actually, another thing. Has your rage worn off? I don't think it has worn off because you haven't went a whole round yet without being attacked, so you're still good. Yeah, you're fine. Okay, so first attack, 4 biting. Obviously it hits for 4 damage. Sorry, I rolled a 15 to hit, and then it claws at you and it also hits. So total of, and this is on top of the, I'll just say 7 and 4 is the damage. So total of 11 damage, halved. And then you see the creamy albino one basically standing on the pipe above you and getting ready to jump down on you. It does so and begins to try to bite and claw, missing, and hitting. 6 more damage, halved. You move the 130 feet. And basically, as you do so, the thing that you see in front of you now is this kind of shallow pit with a little bit of damp water that descends down upon it. And it falls about no more than like 5 to 7 feet in. But there's also a rope in the middle of it. You can make an athletics check to try to jump on this rope and swing.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Giving yourself, but it will be a check, right? So it's at disadvantage.
Could I use what's it called? Could I use athletics for this or not?
Yeah, absolutely, athletics.
So would it be neutral then? Because I have disadvantage, but I get.
Yep. So yeah, just a straight up check. Good chance for you to make it here. It's not going to get you that much more distance, but
This is unbelievable, man. 1. She just like dives for this rope and just like. Yeah.
All right. The dice are going against you, my friend. I'm sorry. Next up are the Deinonychus. Give me a dexterity saving throw now to see if you fall prone. You're going to lose the movement anyway, so you stay at the 130. But do you fall on your back?
My dex saving throws, that she gets 10.
10? I'm going to say that you unfortunately would fall prone then. So you're lying on your back now. Doof, the water kind of splashes on you, hitting your face, momentarily like cooling you off as you're just blurred vision. How is actually Jimenez looking right now? Give me a description. I'll let you describe it.
Absolutely. She's got bite marks all over her. Her just like blood is coming out of from her back and her legs and side of her face. And even when she's like into this water, there's a moment of like just wanting to just stay there, but she just brings herself out of this.
Pictures head up and you turn around to know that the friends are behind you, and as you do, you see them running, jumping, letting out a little terrifying screech, and they're now upon you. This is going to be a rough round for you. So a hit, I'm just going to do them all. A hit, a miss, and you got 3 more to get through. So far 2 more hits. And here we go. A hit. You've 3 hits so far, 4 hits, and the final is a miss. So you're taking a total, I'm just going to add this all together, of, let me just add that up. 6 times that plus that is a total of 20 damage halved.
Okay. I am thinking now that maybe
you're on the ground now, and they're both upon you, just chomping down, biting, ripping away skin. There's a part of your forearm that you just have to block, or it's your face. It chomps right down and rips and tears out like tendons on your arm.
Yeah, she stands. She tries. She just struggles her way as all the energy she can muster just to stand, and she has to fight. That's the only way. There's no way she's making 70 grand with these guys. So she turns on one of them. That is 16.
That'll do.
And a natural 1 for the next one, and she just like smacks it square in the side of its head.
9 damage. As you finally now are standing and just fighting with it, the people just go absolutely wild. Some people scream in horror as they see like this woman that almost looks like zombie-like now, flesh exposed and ripped away, just lets out this bone-curdling war cry and begins just punching. She's going to stand here and fight these horrifying creatures with just flesh and blood just dripping from their mouths and claws. You're just standing your ground?
Yeah, she's going to stand her ground.
All right, no bonus action stuff?
She doesn't have anything other than if they're biting at each other in order to bite her.
They are not doing that, unfortunately, yet. So here we go. 6 attacks to get through on you. Miss. Hit for 9 damage. And a miss. Here comes the second round as the other one, creamy albino, just bashes into his brethren, pushing him out of the way, hitting for a 6 damage halved. And I'll get you a second here to catch up on the math as I miss with that and miss with that. At least I'm kind of bombing my rolls now. Not as badly as you, though, in like your 4 natural ones. All right. They set up this flank position now, kind of like circling around. And as the time is kind of set in now, they sense death upon you, and they've become a little bit more tactical now. You stopped running, so they're waiting for like opportunities to have your distraction and bite into your back, claw into your side as you go to defend that. You're now up.
Absolutely. Yeah, she sees just like hearing the roar and stuff. She just chooses the one that she had just hit a second ago and attacks him again. That's 12 plus. That's modified 20, and the other one is 18 plus of 1 hit. So 2 hits on the same one, just pounding into him and just like kicking as he snaps to bite towards her.
All right, that's enough to take it down. As you punch it into the face, you kind of hear its eyeball just basically gush out as enough force just strikes and bashes eyeball. It rears up its head in pain, at which point you grab onto its jaw and just smash it into your knee, breaking its jaw and then grabbing it down to the ground and then smashing its head onto the ground. Another one taken out. It's just you and the one Deinonychus now. It goes in for a clawing strike. One-on-one combat, man, as this is what you're made for now. You feel like you come in, the creature tries to crawl at you, you dodge out of the way, poof, jab it in the face. It claws again, hitting. 10 damage, halved.
Okay, gee, that burns. Okay, got it.
You hanging on for dear life or what?
Literally, so I was at 78, 79.
Last attack coming in is a miss.
Okay.
You're up. This creature completely unmolested by you in any way, full health.
Yeah, okay. Shiza. Oh, man. She does. That's 18, 19.
Yep, that'll do.
And 1. You gotta be kidding me, man.
Wow, that's crazy. You gotta burn that dice.
It's crazy. With all she's got, she just like headbutts this thing. I mean,
right.
Doors like even just cut way over her head. Just, yeah.
Are you on death's door right now?
It's on death's door with cheese.
All right. Well, I wish you luck, my friend. You got 3 attacks to get through. I'm gonna open it up with a natural 20.
Oh.
The natural 20 is a total of 13 damage.
Oh, she's gone.
She's done?
Absolutely. I mean,
ugh.
With what was it? A bite, a claw?
That was a claw attack just raking across you.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine as it just like just rips the flesh from her face as she just like falls backwards, and her vision like looks up at like the crowd, you know, and she sees like those that are like, you know, kind of like hate or want her blood and stuff, but she also sees like her friends, you know, as well amongst the crowd, and she even sees her ancestors as well that are just amongst them as well, and then there's like a darkness that seems to approach and just like engulf her and consume her as she just hits this hits the water.
Drop down into the water. Blood begins to just flow out of you as you have these last memories of those that you fought with, those that you've loved, the lessons that you've learned from your captains, from the people that you've traveled with. You just look up and the sky begins to blur in yellow and the cheers begin to mush together as the sound of the dinosaur ripping at your flesh is just torrenting into that horrible. You see before you the great bear now standing. It lets up one more kind of on its hind legs, rear, and just lets out this bone-curdling roar. As you're whisked away from this now, you find yourself in a forest that's more akin to that of a bear. And it's just standing there as if challenging you. You know now that you've passed on, that your quest in Chult is now over. But you know that they're from the friends that you've made, the acquaintances and the people that they've traveled with, the sacrifice that you've made for this exact moment will be the fire that needs to overthrow the tyrants that are the Flaming Fist. It will be the sacrifice needed to put an end and dive into this jungle and find what the death curse is. You know you're leaving now, but at the same time, you feel okay because, like you said to Commander Cole, regardless with or without you, people will put an end to this. The bear poof, lands on all fours now, and it begins to run towards you. One last final trial for Menez, the trial of the great bear. Is she worthy of passing over? And we just see her in this kind of serene, mystical forest, this giant bear and this small woman in comparison, letting out another warrior's cry as she charges in, completely unafraid for the fate that is upon her. And last thing we see is a Superman punch heading towards the bear's face. As unfortunately, I'm sorry, man, you're so close. You're literally one dash away from getting there.
But listen, super. Oh my gosh, man, that's so rough. It's so rough, but it's good, man. It gives weight to your companion. I think the fact that there's no pulling punches, man. It's like,
yeah,
cut it, you're gone.
Yeah. I just had to let it go where it goes, and literally you were so close. If you wouldn't have rolled, like, how many freaking ones was it there? Oh my god,
crazy.
Yeah, you were actually one dash away. I'm sorry, my friend. That feels bad, but that is Nianzaru. That is March of Annihilation. Unfortunately, the first kind of, what are we looking for here? What's the word I'm looking for? The first person to actually go out into the jungle, Menez, one of the original cast from like the first couple of sessions, the first to reach level 8. Just been grinding away, Ian. It's been such a pleasure playing with Menez as a character. I'm deeply saddened to see her go, but what a way to go. Thank you for playing, my friend. That literally, unfortunately, as the scene kind of fades away, all of Menez's friends are stuck there, completely helpless. They know that this is her battle and that there's nothing that they can do to help. They see a horrible end come to her, just as they've seen a horrible end come to many others that have traveled out into the jungles. They know now, again, another reminder that the death curse is always ever looming over Nianzaru, over Chult, and over the world. That is where we'll end it.
Okay. Really
good run, Menez. And we'll catch you on the other side. Peace out, everybody. Short game.